How often do you see famous music stars put out Christian songs at the peak of their careers? It's a rarity that almost never happens. But in 2019, Kanye West did the unthinkable. Not only did he put out a Christian song, he released an entire Christian-themed album named Jesus is King. And over the next few months, the world would get to see a different Kanye, one that was seemingly reborn and dedicated to winning souls for God.
And Jesus is the way and the life and the King of Israel.
But just a few years down the line, the superstar rapper was singing a different tune.
Just like that, when someone comes up and says something like, I am a god, everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was, a god. I just told you, that's who I think I am.
So what changed? How did Kanye go from admitting that Jesus is Lord to declaring himself as God? And was he even a Christian? Kanye West, aka Ye, is undoubtedly one of the most controversial pop culture artists of this era, especially when you take into account his unguarded comments about God and Christianity. But he wasn't always like this. As a kid, Kanye was raised by his mother Donda West, a staunch Christian who instilled faith in him. She taught young Kanye the Bible and took him to church regularly. So, when he became a star, Kanye naturally infused some of those teachings into his music. In his fourth single from his debut album, named The College Dropout, he said, I want to talk to God, but I'm afraid, 'cause we ain't spoken so long. This was Kanye wrestling with faith, acknowledging God, but also admitting he was distant. One would have thought that after highlighting this problem, Kanye would make deliberate efforts to get closer to God. But he did the exact opposite. He became even more distant from God, and his music became less about faith and more about self-gratification. In 2006, for instance, he appeared on the cover of Rolling Stones wearing a tunic and crown of thorns alongside a headline that reads, The Passion of Kanye West. While some saw this as an ordinary photo shoot, many Christians found it offensive and accused Kanye of blasphemy. But the controversial rapper refused to back down. Instead, he rode on that wave of controversy and became even more obsessed with projecting himself as a godlike figure. By 2013, Kanye had gone completely rogue. He released his sixth studio album titled Yeezus, a term which represents the incarnation of darkness and the embodiment of a god. As if that wasn't telling enough, the third track on that album was titled I Am a God. And just as the title suggests, Kanye actually tried to put himself on the same pedestal as God. I am a god, / hurry up with my damn massage. The message was clear. Kanye was beginning to see himself as an equal to God, and he wanted everyone to know about it. But then 5 years later, in 2018, something changed. From struggling with God complex issues, Kanye started publicly speaking about his faith again. He was hosting Sunday service, private gospel gatherings with live choirs that blended worship with hip-hop. And in 2019, he dropped Jesus is King, an album with zero profanity, zero secular themes, and 100% devotion to God. Now that I'm in service to Christ, my job is to spread the gospel, to let people know what Jesus has done for me, Kanye said in an interview with Zane Lowe. At the time, it seemed like he had found a bigger purpose, something worth more than the fame and riches that secular music offered. Against all odds and perhaps against professional advice, Kanye voluntarily stopped performing his old songs and declared himself a Christian artist. But he didn't stop there. He also launched the Donda Academy, a Christian school focused on faith-based education. Many saw this as a full 360-degree moment for Kanye. I mean, it was the perfect redemption story, similar to how Saul turned Paul in the Bible. And honestly, it was believable. In fact, at some point, it felt like Kanye was on his way to becoming a full-time preacher. But over time, the cracks in his religious life began to show. And we all got to see them firsthand in late 2021 when he released Donda. This album was dedicated to the memory of his mom, who had died in 2007. And overall, the songs had different themes, ranging from fame to family and even faith. However, they also contained worrying elements of Kanye's old self. Secular lyrics, profanity, and collaborations with artists known for non-Christian content. Of course, this left many fans confused and worried because they had become accustomed to the religious Kanye West, and all of a sudden they were seeing something different. But little did they know that the worst was yet to come. As the years went by, Kanye's God complex issues returned. And this time it became worse, so much that he outrightly declared himself God during an interview with Big Boy TV.
You know, because I'm God. And anyone who disagree, I'm the God of me, and you can't tell me who I am.
This was a complete reversal of everything he preached in the Jesus is King album just a few years ago. So, what exactly happened to his faith? Was Kanye West really Christian, or was his Christian era just another phase in his unpredictable life? Well, this is a contentious topic. But before we proceed to discuss it, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to enjoy more faith-related deep dives like this one. Some believe that the Jesus is King album was a genuine transformation, but Kanye, being human, simply struggled to stay consistent. And that's understandable. After all, we've seen many examples of people who found faith, but later returned to their old habits. However, in Kanye's case, some people believe his Christian era was more about attention, PR, and profits than true belief. And since we agree that the first argument is understandable, it's only fair that we explore this one as well. At the peak of his redemption era, Kanye sold limited edition Sunday service merch ranging from $50 to $225. Now, to be clear, there's no evidence to suggest he made profits off those sales. But considering his reputation and the multitude of churchgoers who besieged the stores that sold those merchandise, it is very likely that Kanye West raked in some profits from the business. In addition, his religious rebrand came at a time when he was facing heavy backlash, which maybe suggests that the whole Sunday service thing could be a scheme to launder his bad PR. Now, we don't really know which is the truth because only God and Kanye himself have that information. But we can at least form a bias based on the available facts. And if we were to do that, Kanye's recent comments have been anything but measured. He went from rapping about Jesus and spreading the gospel to comparing himself to God. And now, he's taken it a step further.
You know, I have my issues with Jesus. There's a lot of stuff I went through that I prayed and I didn't see Jesus show up. So I had to put my experience in this world, my experience with my children, my experience with other people, my experience with my account, my experience with my brand, and my experience with the level of music that I was dealing with in my own hands.
Indeed, a lot has happened in Kanye's life since his Christian era. He went through a publicized divorce process with his ex-wife Kim Kardashian. Meanwhile, his new wife Bianca Censori has become notorious for making public appearances in her birthday suit, including at the red carpet of the 67th Grammys Awards that was held recently. According to multiple sources, Kanye controls Bianca's wardrobe and is responsible for her controversial outfit choices. But unfortunately, he doesn't seem to have the same level of control over his finances. At some point, his net worth plummeted from $1 billion to around $400 million within months after losing huge sponsorship deals with Adidas, Gaps, and Balenciaga. But is that really enough excuse for Kanye to abandon his faith and turn against God? I mean, the Bible made it clear that being a Christian doesn't absorb us from tribulations. Take Job, for example, who lost all his possessions, including 10 children. Yet, he never denounced his faith nor his maker. In fact, it was during this trying phase that Job drew closer to God. And guess what? God restored him and gave him twice as much as what he had before. Now, you wonder if Kanye could have taken a cue from Job and sought help from God. But apparently, he was too busy
And do it myself. I had so much to do, I ain't had time to pray.
I hate to state the obvious, but Kanye contradicted himself there. Earlier, he said he prayed and Jesus didn't show up, and all of a sudden, he's saying he was so busy, he didn't even have time to pray. Clearly, there are loopholes in his explanation. But then again, it is not in our place to judge him. He might have lost his way and slipped back to his old ways, but the door of redemption is not shut against him. Like Job in the Bible, Kanye still has the opportunity to seek help from God before things get worse. But do you really think he will do that? Let me know what you think in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the complexities of Kanye West's faith, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel. Until next time, stay positive, spread love, and most importantly, keep the faith alive.